anything in the distance.
This looks like a PS3 game.
Doesn't even have a shadow.
I wonder if you pull up video footage of PlayStation 3's version of Monster Hunter. All right, let's look that up and look up images. The PlayStation 3 game looks better than the PS5 game and the current gen game. The PlayStation 3 game looks better. Look at that. Look at that. This game is optimized. This game is not.
I mean, it's pretty rough. And again,
what the f- So this is about Monster Hunter Wilds. Let's see. Monster Hunter Wilds. This is a video I wanted to cover. Is game optimization getting worse? I will jump on this and say no. Game optimization is not getting worse from companies who care. You see, I have made a video about this very subject. And if I go to my list of videos, let's go to capcorgi. There we go. This greasy motherfucker. Me. If we go to capcorgi and I put in Dragon's Dogma, you will find videos about how I discuss Dragon's Dogma, and you will find videos of how I've discussed Monster Hunter Wilds. And in both, I've talked about the propensity for Capcom. Let's be real. Yeah, dude, people did not like this video. People really did not like this video. I made a little discussion about what I think about Monster Hunter Wilds because I played the beta. It was fun, except for the fact that it was optimized like dog shit. And I said very clearly, and I talked about this anytime I talked about Capcom. Jack, I'll at least link you this video. You can check this video out. But Capcom has a thing, and that thing is they will absolutely 100% always launch a game when it is not finished, just to make sure they hit their fiscal year end. And when is Capcom's fiscal year end? It is March. So anytime a game from Capcom is coming out and it is not January or, March itself or April or any other month and it's February, be assured that it is going to be unfinished and completely unoptimized. 100%. And we're running into that here. We are going to be running into it here. Again, the beta was fun. It was great, gameplay wise. But the thing is, it was optimized like absolute balls. And I have big worries that Monster Hunter Wilds will be the same, because I ran into this issue and I even made a video about it. And I'll link this video in the comments below for sure, so you guys can check the original video out. And I am not surprised.
Or frustrated with.
But I also didn't do the details and stuff. So let's watch this guy. I've never watched his video before, but it looks like he does this on the regular. I kind of took a cursory look at his channel, and he kind of covers the FPS and the optimization of games in general and stuff. So he seems to know his stuff.
Games running slowly and looking bad, especially when they look like a blurry, smeared mess of pixels. And that's exactly what we're getting here with Monster Hunter Wilds. Yeah. This video isn't just about that, but it's kind of what's...
Unacceptable FPS, yeah. Unacceptable lack of optimization, and it's because the game companies that do release these games don't give a shit. They just frankly don't care. And they know we're all going to buy Monster Hunter Wilds anyways. And that's the problem. They know that we love Monster Hunter. They know that we've played Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter Rise and Monster Hunter this, Monster Hunter that, like crazy. This is the biggest game for Capcom to release, I think, probably since Resident Evil 8. And, like, not even close. Dragon's Dogma was big, and they still fucked that up, by the way. Dragon's Dogma on PC was unplayable for, like, over 5 months on PC. For, like, half of the people that could play Dragon's Dogma 2. I could not play Dragon's Dogma 2 on a 2080, with a 13th gen Intel chip. Like, it was that bad, dude. It was that bad. So Remen, who has Remen has a brand new 4070 Ti. Max FPS he got was 80. Yeah, exactly. And DLSS, by the way, is honestly, Jacka, just an excuse a lot of times for game companies to fuck up their frame rate and optimization and overly rely on DLSS to basically be a band-aid solution to allow their games to even be played on PC. And it's because they just stopped trying. And then you compare it to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which we've been playing. I have Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 on ultra settings. And I have not had almost any stutters or slowdown or anything. That game is supremely optimized. Why? Because Warhorse Studios gives a shit, and most other game companies like Capcom does not. And I say this as someone who loves and respects Capcom games. I love Capcom games. Resident Evil is one of my favorite series of all time. I played like 300 hours of Monster Hunter World. I played like 150 hours of Monster Hunter Rise. I'm no Capcom hater. I just hate this aspect of Capcom, and I really wish they would fix it, because this should be better. This is a 360, an AMD Ryzen processor, medium graphics, and it's an average of 54 to 68 FPS. That's the average. What the fuck, man? That's crazy.
Sparked me onto this
insane.
Topic because this is a bigger topic in PC gaming.
Fake frames are not worth it.
Feel
Exactly.
Like the visuals you're getting.
Yeah, DLSS. When you get into frame gen, you're absolutely right. Before we continue, I will talk about the issues of frame gen. You're 100% right. Frame gen has issues where it adds latency in the game. That's a big problem. The other thing is it's not how the game is supposed to look. They're fake frames. It's auto-gen frames. So you're not going to get the actual feel of what the game should be. That's why, things are blurry and textures get messed up and everything like that. It really sucks that, but so many games, especially the AAA games, overly rely on frame gen. It's absolutely insane. It makes me so sad. Wade Wilson says, I don't have a gaming PC, so I have a gaming potato. So I just assume most games won't run on your rig. But I will say Kingdom Come 1 runs great. Yeah. You know what's funny, Wade Wilson? If Kingdom Come 1 runs on your PC, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 will also probably, like, very high chance, run on your PC on lower settings as well. Because that game, Kingdom Come 2 on ultra settings, runs better on my computer than Kingdom Come 1. Because Kingdom Come 1 was like, older version of the engine, and, it was made by a much smaller team, and so they weren't able to do all the optimization stuff that they did in Kingdom Come 2. Kingdom Come 2 is unironically a better optimized game than Kingdom Come 1. Because they had the time, they had the ability to put the amount of love, they had the money to do it. They spent, it wasn't like, a AAA level of money. It was $40 million, which is a lot. But it's not like, an Ubisoft level of budget or, Blizzard level of budget or something like that. And they still made the game run like so freaking well. They put in the time. They put in the hours. They put in the hard work, and they focused on optimization. And it shows. And it genuinely shows. Yeah, exactly. I ran BG3 on launch on Ultra. Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3. I could run Baldur's Gate 3 on Ultra as well. Absolutely. To be fair, Baldur's Gate 3 is like turn-based, so that's a big part of it. As opposed to like an action-style game, a combat-style game, an open-world-style game. So these things are a little hard to compare in terms of like a top-down isometric view. But, I mean, you can indeed still run Baldur's Gate 3 on almost any computer, depending on the settings and so on. And it still looks good, and it's very, very optimized. I will say that, absolutely, 100%.
Are matching the performance that you're getting. Because it's one thing if a game looks unbelievably stunning,
right,
and is difficult to run.
I think a good example of this is a game that is made to be looking really, really good, and it's like, you know, made to push the boundaries. I think, what is it called? What is that game that is about mental illness? And it's like fully like motion captured, and it was on Xbox. It was with the girl, the Viking girl. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Chat. What is that game? Game with lady Viking mental illness. That's the game. Hellblade. Yeah. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice and the second game. These games were made to push the graphical prowess and stuff. So if Hellblade runs at, like, you know, 40, 50 FPS or something, and it's fine, because the point is not to play, like, you know, an actual game. It's kind of like made to be a cinematic experience. Mental illness, League of Legends, yeah, exactly. But like, no, this I love how I put that description in, and it came up, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Completely, yeah, that was the game. But yeah, so like, when it's a game made to be that, then you can take and sacrifice some FPS. But when it's about gameplay like Monster Hunter, why the fuck is it running at under 60 FPS? What this shows that the game company in this instance does not give a shit. It's on medium graphics, it's not an ultra.
But it's another thing if the game looks
I completely
kind
agree.
of mid and still is
this kind of looks like dog shit. Like, look at the graphical fidelity of this. This is dog shit. And you're still not even regularly hitting 60 FPS. You're hitting 50 FPS right here. This is stupid. This is beyond fucking dumb. And Dragon's Dogma 2, Dragon's Dogshit 2 had the exact same problem. They didn't even do an optimization patch, by the way, until 6 months almost after the game came out. 6 fucking months. And it's because they rushed the game out to make sure it hit fiscal year end.
Incredibly difficult to run. Let's
Sinister,
freeze this here for
Sinister Not Lim. How have you been, my friend? Miss you. It's been a long time. I hope you're doing really good. How is life doing? Welcome.
a second and look at what the footage is behind me. This is running the PC benchmark for Monster Hunter Wilds at its
I still haven't run mine yet, and I don't know if I will.
Default settings.
It'll make me angry.
And by the way, the recommended settings for the game on hardware that's a bit above the recommended hardware requirements for the game. And this is running internally at 540p. This is DLSS performance mode on a 1080p display.
So you're getting 42 FPS drops all the way down to 42 FPS while doing DLSS on medium. So you're not only playing on medium, you also have DLSS going.
And it's still only running in the mid 40 FPS range in this scene, and it's looking super blurry.
This is rough.
If you're
on
a tiny phone screen, you might not notice that so much. If you're on a PC-sized monitor,
Ponce, this is pretty bad,
dude. Kind of pinch and zoom.
And this has been a problem for a lot of the Monster Hunter games and Capcom games in general, Ponce. Like, this is due to the RE engine, partly because the RE engine is not made to make games like this, but also it is due, and RE engine has its own issues and slowdowns, and you know, when Resident Evil 8 came out, it had some issues with that. Anytime the Windows broke, it would, you know, in the first section of the game, it had big issues and so on. But like, the other big issue is that is just a lack of optimization. If you boot up Resident Evil 2, and they knew they had to knock it out of the park with RE2. So when you boot up Resident Evil 2 Remake or 4 Remake, because they also felt the same way about 4 Remake, you get really, really good fidelity with the RE engine and the customization, but you also get good optimization. The RE engine is not really the full issue. When Capcom wants to, they can nail the optimization. They can genuinely nail. So, yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. Question: England looking for stores to buy American live TV on demand? I don't live in England, Ejuk. I don't know, buddy. I'm so sorry. But we're covering some awesome game stuff. So if you want to hop on in, hang on out, let us know, and enjoy the good vibes.
And the PC system requirements for this game are really highlighting exactly the issues that so many people are frustrated with. Right.
So recommended specs for 1080p resolution with 60 frame rate with frame gen enabled. This is bullshit, by the way. This should not be required. 2060 Super and Intel i5 10. This doesn't sound bad, except for the fact that he's running higher specs and he is still running into drops down to 30-40 FPS. 30-40 FPS.
Right now in a lot of games that have been coming out. And these...
you can't even frame down on 2060. Can you not frame down on 2060? That's even worse then. That's even worse. That means that's even more bullshit. I didn't even know that, Jacka. But yeah, I know you could definitely frame down on 2080 because I had a laptop version of 2080 for sure. No. You could. No, that's not true. You can definitely frame gen DLSS on 2080. 100%. 100%. RTX cards only. I did.
System requirements not only acknowledge these problems, but they're running head first.
DLSS is scaling tech. Oh, okay. So DLSS is not frame gen. Okay. No. You might be right. I might just have my. I'm not a guy who does tech. So Jacka, it is very, very, very likely you're more right than I am, Jacka. 100%, brother. 100%. Yeah.
Into it, just like bam.
I thought they were the same thing.
They are saying that in order...
I thought they were the same thing. My bad, guys.
In order to hit 1080p 60 FPS, you're going to have to upscale. By the way, they don't specify here, but what they mean at the medium settings is performance mode upscaling. So 540p internal resolution.
So that means the game has to look like dog shit for you to hit 60 FPS. When they say performance mode, that means the game is going to look like shit.
That's 50% per axis, which means 1/4 of the pixels of 1080p, and then trying to upscale that into something that doesn't look like a blurry mess, and of course it fails. But also they're saying that still won't actually get you 60 FPS, despite only being at medium settings and running at 1/4 of the pixels of 1080p. They're saying
upscaled to from 1/4 of the pixels of 1080p. Jesus. And the thing is that, like, I'm not great with tech, but I've been streaming and I've been streaming for 5 years. I've been playing video games since the original fucking NES and Atari. So I'm old as fucking Methuselah, right? And I could barely understand this. So any layman, like anyone who doesn't even know tech or whatever, and they're like they're like a newer gamer. They're like, anyone who's been born in the past, they're anything from a Zoomer to a Gen X or whatever. Sorry, Zoomer to Gen Z. They're probably not gonna understand this shit. Like, genuinely.
You'll still need frame generation in order to hit that 60 FPS. And this is what people are frustrated with. Games that feel like instead of
I respect this guy so much for going so hard on this. I don't know him. This is our first video. I'm definitely gonna link his video in the comments, in the description below, and I'll definitely share it in the comments right here on stream. But yeah, I'm gonna give this guy a sub and a like immediately, because like I've covered this and I've gotten shit on so much by Capcom shit eaters that yell at me every time I've brought this type of thing up. I wonder if his comments are raging. No, his comments are not raging. Wow. What? Why do I get the ragers then? What the fuck? What the fuck?
Optimizing.
I got so many ragers in my comments.
Turning on upscaling and frame generation and calling it a day. Now, I wasn't in the room when this game was developed, so I don't know exactly what happened, and honestly, I think that part of the issue is that the RE engine doesn't seem to scale well.
Ponce, I'm not literate.
This is the game, by the way, trying to run at native 1080p at the lowest possible settings, and in the same scene, we're only getting about 37 FPS, and I would argue it looks even worse than the...
Jesus Christ. Dude, you know what's sad? The vast majority of people are going to be playing on this type of quality of card. Like, they'll be seeing this. Like, I have a 4070, okay? So I'm okay, probably. Maybe, I don't know. I will be streaming this on, as well, so that eats up some of the CPU already. So I will probably be better off than this, but the vast majority of people, don't have the money to spend on like a fucking 4070. The vast majority of people that are playing on PC are going to be seeing dog shit. That they'll be seeing dog shit. And this is dog shit. This is a game in 2025. There's no excuse from Capcom for this, man. No excuse. Can I still bonk Bug Monster on head? Then I'm buying it? Sure. But still, Ponce, and I'm not saying don't buy it. I'm just saying hold Capcom to a higher standard. That's all. Like, I'm not saying don't buy it. I'm fucking playing Monster Hunter 2. I love this game. I love Monster Hunter Wilds. We played like fucking, the beta for like 10 hours straight, man. I love the game. But this is still the worst aspect of Capcom games, and this definitely will be the most worst aspect of Monster Hunter Wilds as well. And it's sad, because I only want this game to succeed. I only want it to be a very, very good game.
540p
and it's sad that this is always the issue.
Medium settings that we're getting here. This looks more smeary, but at least is a little more cohesive and has a little more draw distance. This is the lowest settings, which just look extremely pixelated, even at native 1080p.
It looks like dog shit. Like, I mean, I'll just say it. It looks like absolute fucking dog shit.
And like, does anything in the distance?
This looks like a fucking PS3 game.
Doesn't even have a shadow.
I wonder if you pull up video footage of PlayStation 3's version of Monster Hunter. I know there is PlayStation 3 version of Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter on PS3. What is the game? MP3 Hard HD? No, MHP Third HD. All right, let's look that up and look up images. The PlayStation 3 game looks better than the PS5 game and the current gen game. The PlayStation 3 game looks better. Look at that. Look at that. This game is optimized. This game is not.
I mean, it's pretty rough. And again,
what
running
the
at 37 FPS. So this is where people are frustrated. We're feeling like, what I'm seeing on the screen doesn't look that great, and yet it's running terribly.
It looks like dog.
On the same PC that has been playing other games super, super well. For example, what if we look at Horizon Forbidden West?
This is good. So this is an open world game. This has, high fidelity. This has giant monsters. This has long draw distance. This has the same aspects of Monster Hunter.
This is also running on an RTX 3060, and this is also an open world game.
Yeah,
and
it's a good
running at its maximum settings here at around 50 FPS in a big populated town. And as you get out of town, it'll run it kind of in the mid 50s, and that's at its absolute maximum settings.
Not medium.
And I don't think anybody would argue that this doesn't look great. And then also,
it looks good. It looks very good.
You can go ahead and turn down to medium graphic settings, and now look, I'm running in the mid 70 FPS range here, and things
20 FPS difference. 30. No, sorry, he was dipping down to 30, so 45 FPS difference.
Scaled down gracefully. This still looks good.
Huge.
Yeah, there's a difference between the very high settings and the medium settings in terms of like the draw distance at which things pop in, but still looks quite nice. And this is native 1080p, no upscaling.
No upscaling.
And then we get to this, where at native 1080p, things look awful and are still only running at 37 FPS.
It's because it's made to look like this size, but no one has a screen that size, nor would you use one because you're not insane. And so you upscale it. And so it looks, blurred out for that reason. And it's because they're relying on frame gen, they're relying on DLSS, they're relying on all these little tricks to make the game runnable, because they refuse to put in the time to do their optimization because they know we're going to buy it fucking anyways. That's why. And it sucks. It absolutely sucks. I would say, unironically, this is Monster Hunter's biggest problem. This is Capcom's biggest problem. Do we not like DLSS? We like the fact that it allows us to play the game, Ponce, but we hate the fact that companies like Capcom rely on DLSS so much that they refuse to optimize their own fucking game. And they use DLSS as a band-aid. That's the problem. And so, yeah, I actually hate DLSS for that reason. Latency, yeah, and it adds massive latency to the game. Any game that you use high level of DLSS, you'll have higher and higher levels of latency in your controls. 100%. It is proven. It's absolutely
If we go with the default recommended medium settings, we're upscaling
by smarter
from
people
540p, so things look extremely blurry. You can see
so
it
sad.
kind of smearing details together. And then also, I would still argue...
And this is also, keep in mind, Ponce, this is not what DLSS was made for. That's not saying much, true. But this is not what DLSS was made for. DLSS was not made to be a band-aid so people don't optimize their games. It never was made for that purpose.
That things don't look all that impressive. Although generally art design is a bit subjective, but that's really where I wish a lot more games would focus, is can you design an art
compare this to Elden fucking Ring. Elden Ring came out, and if you zoom all the way in, sure, it's not the highest fidelity game. But the art design and the focus on optimization means it runs buttery fucking smooth on even mid-tier computers. And you can have massive draw distance. There's no slowdown in the gameplay at all, because that's the last thing you want in a fucking Elden Ring game, Souls-like. You don't want to miss frames. And also, by the way, the other problem with frame gen is not only latency. It is also that sometimes you will have frames that lie to you. Like, you will be hit by something that you should not have been hit by, because the frame that was genned is not a frame that shows the weapon hitting your hitbox, right? But it hits you anyways. And it's not a problem, it's not frame gen's fault, it's creating the frame. It's the fact that it's so necessary in an action game where hitboxes matter. And Monster Hunter is that kind of game. Absolutely. Frame gen is a huge issue in games like this.
Design that looks incredible without necessarily being super technically demanding. Check this out. This is Ghost of Tsushima running at its maximum settings. By the way,
Ghost of Tsushima. Great comparison.
Also an open world game. I'm trying to be
They
fair.
gave a shit
open world
here.
Games to open world games. Although I know Monster Hunter Wilds is doing different things with its open world, so it's never a direct comparison. But look,
it's as good as
this. This looks gorgeous.
Right.
But none of these tree leaves and the rocks and things like that actually have a massive amount of geometric detail or even really texture detail. But when you look at the image on the whole, it just looks gorgeous. This is amazing art design. Not only that, it can scale down appropriately.
It's at so originally it was at 55 FPS in general.
I go down to medium
now it's
settings.
At medium settings,
this
so it's 83.
Still looks gorgeous. And now it's running at 85 FPS on the RTX 3060.
Same
and
computer.
Again,
same computer.
If we go back...
And also, one thing that you can't really see because of my sub goals and everything like that, here, I'll make the video smaller for a moment. The CPU, one thing I've noticed about games, I don't know if you found the same. If you have, let me know in the comments below. Most games are CPU gated, not GPU gated. And the reason is optimization. So when a game is not well optimized, a lot of times what I've found is you get CPU locked. That's what happened to Dragon Dogma 2. That's what happened with, Resident Evil 8 in certain sections. That's what happened with many other games that use the RE engine, Unreal 5. They're oftentimes CPU gated due to lack of optimization. Absolutely.
And switch to this.
Ghost of Tsushima has been out for 5 years. Yeah, so has Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon Forever Winter, whatever the fuck the sequel is, that was out for 4 years, Ponce. So almost the exact same amount of time. Elden Ring came out in 2022. It wasn't that different. Oh no, 2021. When did Elden Ring come out? 2021? Elden Ring release. Yeah, okay, 2022. Early 2022, Ponce. Doesn't matter. Almost the exact same amount of time.
native resolution, lowest possible settings, we're getting 37
game
FPS.
That isn't out yet.
Now, what if we turn Monster...
I know, Ponce, but the thing is, the game that isn't out yet is worse. And keep in mind, Ponce, trust me on this, do you think that Capcom rushing out a game means they're going to put out an update in short order? No. They didn't, again, Dragon's Dogma 2. It came out in late February of last year. They didn't put out an optimization patch for 6 fucking months on PC. 6 months the game was unplayable for half the PC player base. And even when the optimization patch came out, it still was not really that good. That's the problem. It took them months to release the patch, Ponce. I don't trust Capcom anymore to release the patch in short order. Not when they're rushing out the game. And that's the problem. Their fiscal year end is March of every year. Okay? This game is releasing at the exact same time 1 year later compared to Dragon's Dogma 2. Dragon's Dogma 2 is rushed out to reach fiscal year end, and this game is hitting the same release milestone. They're releasing it before fiscal year end. And it is not optimized, dude. Dragon's Dogma is not Monster Hunter, I know. But they use the same engine, and they use the same company, and the same company has had a history of releasing games that are not optimized and then releasing patches for it to fix it fucking months later. That's my point, brother. That's my point. You should not trust them or excuse bad behavior no matter how much you love the company. I love Capcom too, okay? I love Capcom too. I'll be playing this game, but I'm not going to excuse bad behavior. I'm sorry.
Hunter Wilds up to...
The fact that you are defending them so hard is why they feel okay doing this, by the way. You are essentially enabling Capcom to do this. Everyone who acts like this. And it's okay, I understand it. But this is the same thing of the leave my favorite multi-billion company alone. This is that exact same thing as the meme. And it's okay to say that. Like, I love you, I respect you, you're your brother, but like, that's what this is.
The ultra settings. And this is native 1080p. The ultra would default to using DLSS. Again, kind of looking smeary at 1080p if you do that. So at native ultra settings, 1080p, we're getting 28 FPS.
Yeah, de novo is another big thing, Jacka. Yeah, I didn't even cover de novo, but you're right. De novo is a big reason why it has PC issues as well, for sure. And that will never change, probably. Yeah, I think Dragon's Dogma 2 still has de novo a year later. I'm not sure about that, but definitely had it at launch. Definitely had it 6 months later when I last tried it, and I was like, fuck this.
And again, I'd still argue that, well, this doesn't look that stunning or anything like that.
No,
it
doesn't.
I think part of that is the art design. Well, maybe that's subjective, and maybe some of you guys are watching this and you're like, I prefer this. I think this looks better. And that's perfectly
But let's be real. 26 FPS drops, average of 40 FPS. That's insane.
Fair. But I do think it is important to think about...
That's less than 30, dude. That's less than PS4, PS5 base.
The overall art design.
It just harms customers.
And that it doesn't necessarily need to be technically demanding or technically impressive to deliver something that is still visually impressive, but a lot more performant. And that's where I think Ghost of Tsushima is
I think we've reached the time in graphics where generally, dude, look at the rise of indie games. Well, no, Ryan, what I mean is a lot of games release for a benchmark of 30 FPS, which is also stupid. And the thing is that console shit-eaters have gotten so used to 30 FPS that they're willing to suffer through having games that are poorly optimized to reach only 30 FPS. That's one of the big parts of the problem here. Yeah. And yeah, exactly. Indie games, Ryan, you're exactly right. Indie games that are focused on gameplay, I play all of them too. Project Zomboid, this, that, whatever. We have a billion indie games that we played on this channel. And all of those games are focused on gameplay. They're focused on they're focused on art design. They're focused on graphical design. They're focused on having fun. And you know, a lot of the indie games are better optimized than fucking AAA games. And that's why people are playing indies so much. I'm not saying this as anything but I want Capcom to do better because I want them to succeed more. I want them to succeed more. It's okay, your eyes can't see faster than 24 FPS. Yeah, exactly. I think we've reached the point with AAA gaming where we don't care about, like, having, you know, every freckle on some piece of shit's face visible. We genuinely don't care. want a game to be playable and want to look pretty good. It doesn't have to look gorgeous. Elden Ring has good art design. It doesn't have good graphical fidelity. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has good art design and it has good graphical quality, but it doesn't use like the facial animations of the RE engine. It doesn't need to. It's still gorgeous inside and out from every aspect that you see. And that is due to the focus on optimization, the love put in the game, the time put into it, and you can run it on Ultra without fucking frame gen of any kind. You can run it on Ultra without frame gen of any kind. It looks gorgeous, and it's buttery ass smooth. Buttery ass smooth, dude. Ass hair and 100 FPS, exactly.
Amazing masterclass in, wow, this looks beautiful. Even if I go down to medium settings, it's still...
If I can't count the scales around Rathlotz's sphincter, I don't want it. Yep, exactly. Yeah, 8K Ultra HD, yeah.
Looks beautiful because it's the overall design. It's not that if you zoom in on one of the buckets on the side of the road that you can count...
I think that as we go forward, bold statement, in the next 5 years, as we go forward with, games and so on, we're going to focus less and less as consumers and as, gamers on graphical fidelity. I think we've actually reached a turning point. People like this guy, and me, I'm small, but like large creators, this guy has like almost 250,000 views on this video, right? Yeah, 218,000 views on this video. Very big video. And I've never heard of this guy. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I've just never heard of him. So as a result, I think people are caring more about this. I think people are starting to give much more of a shit about this. We're holding companies to a higher standard. For some reason, Capcom slips through the cracks all the time. Like, people have complained about other games. I don't know why Capcom fans are so sycophantic that they'll excuse this bad behavior left, right, and sideways. Like, it's honestly a little crazy to me. Like, otherwise, brilliant people, Ponce, you're smart in everything I've ever seen, and you still defend Capcom's bad behavior here. Like, you don't do this for other companies. Jerk off crystals, exactly. Wade Wilson says, I think AAA gaming has gotten so focused on trying to hit these points that they believe that will lead to fast profit. They aren't trying to do... Well, no, that dude, why do you think they're trying to hit fiscal year end? They try to release these games, Capcom, before the fiscal year end, and don't do the optimization, don't do the background work to fix the fucking game or anything like that, because all they care about is line going up. That's why. All they want is for that line to go up. That's why they care about hitting fiscal year end. If they didn't, if the game released in March or April or something like that, absolutely it would look better. They would actually have time to focus on optimization. This is rushed. This entire thing means that Monster Hunter Wilds is rushed.
Grains,
I hope I'm wrong, but dude, this entire video is banking on the tool that was released for the release of this game. That's the most recent shit.
Of lines in the wood and everything like that. It just looks awesome when you're playing the game, and it runs well. Now, so when I'm talking about is the game optimized or unoptimized, I would say that there's a few things that go into that. Because optimized doesn't mean it runs well. I think it means it delivers an optimal balance between it's trying to achieve something visually and it's doing it in an optimal way, right? So
I think it's a bit more semantics. I think he's kind of delving into the weeds a little bit, but yeah, I mean, overall, I'd agree with him. He's basically talking about Senua's Sacrifice being a cinematic experience. That's the point I made before, and it's made to hit not FPS numbers, but it's made to hit graphical fidelity versus gameplay style, long draw distance, things like this.
Have a game that is chasing the just most incredibly impressive visuals you've ever seen, it might be justified to run slowly.
Right.
And that's okay.
This is not
like, for example, if we look at something like Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, which...
This guy's so smart. Anytime someone agrees with me, they're brilliant. Anytime.
By the way, is not an open world game, so I don't think comparing this directly to Monster Hunter performance-wise is fair, and that's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to show you that this game is trying to achieve basically what you would see in like a CG movie, but running in real time.
Wait, I agree with you.
Gaming hardware. Yeah. I'd say it largely
accomplishes
that.
Thank you, Lil Wong. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy.
37 FPS at 1080p on a 3060. But it's accomplishing something very visually impressive. And also not only that, but it actually does scale down to medium settings and still look pretty impressive, and now it's running in the mid 50 FPS range.
Right.
But again, I don't think we can directly compare, the 37 FPS in this scene to the 37 FPS in this scene.
Yeah.
Because again, Monster Hunter Wilds is trying to be a big open world,
right.
and Hellblade 2 is not. So that is different. But
what day does Wilds come out? I'm just curious. 28th. They can't fix this in a week. Well, this video came out. They can't fix this in 3 weeks. No way. The game is going to come out and it's going to look like dog shit. Just be ready for that, guys. The game is going to come out, and if you're playing on PC, it's going to look like dog shit.
What I'm saying is, a game running at 37 FPS
it's too late.
Doesn't necessarily tell me it's unoptimized.
And we'll all still buy it, and we'll all still play it. And it'll still be fun, but it's just going to look like crap. And it's going to run like crap. And that's very sad. There was no reason for this except for Capcom being greedy and trying to hit fiscal year end. That is the only reason they're doing this.
Might be trying to achieve something incredibly visually impressive. But I do think if something is optimized, it should the visuals should match what the performance is. And
I got you.
Open world or not, 37 FPS on something that looks like this seems unreasonable to me.
Yeah.
There should have been a better way to scale down the visuals and increase performance.
There is. It's called taking the time to optimize the game. And they're not doing that on purpose because they want to make that money sooner.
While still looking good. But maybe that would have had to have happened way back in the original design planning stage of the game. Maybe even as far back as choosing the engine. Because again, looking at Dragon's Dogma 2, for example, which is also...
he's right about Dragon's Dog Shit 2 being dog shit. I completely agree with him. But he's incorrect in the RE engine. Resident Evil 4 Remake runs perfectly. Resident Evil 2 Remake runs like a fucking dream. It's because they made sure it was optimized well. Those aren't open world games, sure. Though, actually... RE4 is a little open world-ish in some ways, but there's still like it's much more focused on graphical fidelity, and it runs totally fine. Those are small hallways, yeah, but it's optimized. Ponce, that's my point. You can still run those games on much higher graphical settings. This is much more akin to Dragon's Dogma 2, which is why I was giving you the parallel of Dragon's Dogma 2, which you didn't like, Ponce. But the thing is, that's indicative of the same problems here.
Trying to use the RE engine in a big open world environment, that one kind of struggles too, especially when you get a lot of NPCs on the screen. So this issue of being unoptimized could actually just be an issue of, by the time they chose this engine, it might have already been too late.
Ponce, you played Monster Hunter World at launch. Was it unoptimized? If you're watching this video, let me know in the comments below if you're an old hat Monster Hunter player who played the games at launch. I only played Rise at launch. I played Monster Hunter World much later after it came out, about a year before Rise came out. And so I played Monster Hunter World really late. I've not played any previous Monster Hunter games, so I don't know what these games were like at launch. So if you played any Monster Hunter game at launch, let me know in the comments below. Is this normal for Capcom to do? They release the game, it's buggy as shit, it's broken as shit, it looks like dog shit, and then it gets optimized later on. Because it's definitely regular for some of their other games, and it's definitely something that they've done regularly for many of the other games, but I don't know if Monster Hunter is plagued by this often.
For the game design that they were
targeting. 2 months after? Okay. So
you
might have hit after the patch.
When we get to unoptimized games, I think that's another thing. Sometimes it is the engine choice. Like Unreal Engine, which this isn't, by the way. Hellblade is Unreal Engine 5. It can be difficult to get this super performance. So part of your game design choice is what engine you use.
No, Black Myth Wukong is made with Unreal Engine 5. It runs totally fine. It runs totally fucking fine. What engine does Space Marine 2 run? I think it's their own proprietary, right? Space Marine 2 engine. Yeah, it's their own. It's their own one. Okay. Let's see. What newest? Okay. All games using Unreal 5. Because I know there are other examples of games that are optimized well using Unreal Engine 5. Let's see. I think Stalker 2 definitely has optimization issues. Marvel's Rivals runs like butter. Like, I've had 0 issues with Marvel's Rivals. Granted, not open world, but it is an Unreal Engine 5 game, and that has 0 optimization issues, in my opinion. Fortnite, yeah, well, it's made by Unreal. What else? Inotria? I never played Inotria. Was that game optimized? I have no idea. I guess what I'm trying to say is, I don't think it is an excuse for Unreal Engine 5, because there are other games that use Unreal Engine 5, and they just put the effort in to make sure it doesn't look or play like dog shit. Like, that's the thing. It doesn't have to look like dog shit if you put in the effort. Now, maybe you have to put in more effort in Unreal Engine 5 than other engines. Maybe that's the thing. And that Silent Hill 2 is Unreal Engine 5. This game runs well. This game runs really well. Okay, that's another example. I guess maybe it's a lot harder because a lot of games use Unreal Engine 5 and they're just optimized like fucking balls. First Descendant was open world. It was an MMO, actually. And one of the good points about this game is the game looked beautiful and the game ran well. It actually did. And I ran this game on fucking full blast. I had no problems running that game. The game had, was pay to win dog shit, but that wasn't a problem with the engine. So yeah, there are examples of games that can run well on Unreal Engine 5 when they're not when they're paying attention. Perfect Dark? Yeah, Perfect Dark will be, yeah.
Use. And for example, some of the games I was highlighting as seeming to be a lot more optimal, I think are using their own custom engines, like with Ghost of Tsushima,
right?
And like the Decima engine I know is being used in Horizon.
Space Marine 2 is its own engine.
West. Anyway, so part of it is the engine choice. That is part of the game development process, is choosing what engine you're going to use. But I think another one...
It's putting the work in depending on what your engine uses.
Is, I think consoles are the lead game development target generally. And what frame...
He's right. Console players are shit eaters, and that's why everyone's used to 30 FPS, and that's why so many console players excuse bad optimization. I completely agree with him. I know that's not exactly what he's saying, but that's what I'm saying. Go back to source? Yeah, exactly.
What rate are they targeting, and what resolution...
Am I putting words in his mouth a little bit? Yeah. He's saying it, by the way, he's saying this in a really nice way. I'll just tell you how it is. It's fucking dog shit. PS5 plays beautiful 60 FPS. On performance mode. On performance mode, yeah. That means they've lowered the quality of the actual, graphical textures. Why are you okay with this, Ponce? You should not have to make that sacrifice. You only are willing to make that sacrifice because you're used to it. Genuinely. You're okay with it because you're used to it.
Are they targeting when they design the original
I'm
game
serious.
and it's
that's what it is.
Art, right?
Yeah.
Because
I think even 60 FPS should not be the gold standard. I think the gold standard needs to be 100, 120 FPS. Absolutely. Dude, I'm on PC. If I play a game at 60 FPS and it jumps between 60 and 100, I can tell when it's jumping between 60 and 100. Absolutely. I don't play on 4K either. Yeah, I'm talking... Dude, games can't even run on 4K. Let's be real. Like, if you're playing any game on 4K, you're getting like 20 FPS, man.
I think that a lot of game developers, when they
they're
started
not
working
optimized
on
for
PS5 generation
4K
games several years
Also, I don't
ago,
think people care about 4K.
We're used to the console paradigm where 30 FPS gaming was the
1080p.
norm.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, and they're targeting 30 FPS for their original design choices, that gives you a certain frame time.
Console players are shit eaters. I'm sorry. That's what it is. They're just used to eating the bowl of shit that every game company will give them. And that is why game companies are not used to needing to optimize anymore. People are just too used to it. It
budget,
sucks.
a certain number of milliseconds in which each frame is going to be.
I will say console gamers are starting to complain about this in general too. Like way back when Cyberpunk came out, when all these other games in that era came out, and there was like a line of unoptimized dog shit over and over again on consoles as well, people started to get pissed. People started to get pissed then. And I think they're starting to catch on. Finally. It's taken years, but they're starting to catch on. And Quixotic, welcome, my friend. We're discussing some fun stuff. Feel free to join on in.
And if you instead target 60 FPS, you're losing a ton of those milliseconds of time to compute the frame.
Yeah.
So I think that if a game is originally designed around a 30 FPS target on console...
He's right. Yeah, this is a good point. He's making a very good point here. If it's targeting 30, you have double the time compared to 60 FPS benchmark to compute the frame. This makes sheer sense. Very good point.
That's where we're seeing the ones where if you want to run it at 60 FPS, you end up like this is, which is butchering everything with crazy levels of upscaling because the original art was not designed around running super well. So you just have to reduce the burden on the GPU to
I just like it when people are right.
Cost by just cutting the resolution.
When they agree with me, they're right.
Or just really, one thing I'm seeing here when we go down to the lowest settings, or just really ungracefully butchering the overall art. Like they have the certain target they were looking for, and if you want to go below that, it just kind of looks awful. You're just turning off certain settings.
Right.
It just looks bad, right?
This Shadows completely off, God rays completely off. You had to do that for a lot of games.
Does not scale down gracefully. So, but again, I think part of it is also just the engine choice from the original place. But in general, this is what a lot of people are frustrated with. Games that are designed to run on, reasonable hardware.
Right.
But on that reasonable hardware, they're relying on massive levels of upscaling and even frame generation just to hit 60 FPS. So I think game
again, on medium.
Designers need to realize that what a lot of people want is a game that plays well. And part of playing well is playing at a good frame rate.
Yes.
And honestly, 60 FPS on reasonable, console-ish level hardware, I think should be
every fucking game dev that is a AAA game dev, actually every game dev in general, but especially AAA game devs, because they're the ones who have the most problem with this, rushing out games and everything. They need to watch this video. Every single one of them.
The default game design choice. And you need to start the game from the ground up with that target. Because if you don't, I think you end up in this kind of a situation.
Yeah.
And so, again, I'm not a game developer, and I think all the different issues come in with different engine choices and everything like that. But I think a big part of it really should be designing art that looks beautiful without necessarily needing...
Okay, all right. Ponce, I'm done with this. Brother, I'm not wrong. DLSS frame generation refers to a feature within NVIDIA's DLSS, deep learning super sampling technology, that uses AI to generate additional frames between rendered frames. I was fucking right. I'm never wrong. Even when I think I'm wrong, I'm mistaken. I'm actually not wrong. Man, that's crazy. Wow. There we go. Okay. I was right. Yeah, maybe different versions of DLSS work differently, but that's what DLSS generally does. Yeah, maybe the specific ones are different. Maybe there's different versions of DLSS and they work differently. But that means I was still right. There we go.
Needing to be
extremely
demanding to run. And certain games, I think, do that super well. And I think everybody's happy with that. When people get a game that looks nice, it doesn't need to push all the boundaries, but performs well, I think they're happy with that. So people are looking for games that are fun to play and look good enough and run well, right? That's what they want. Now, I think it's totally okay to just have your own thing you're going for, to try to push the absolute boundaries of what a rendering live can do. That's okay if that's your game design target, and that's really a whole different thing. But at the same time, the actual...
And I do, Ponce, I do.
gameplay of a game like this is also targeting something different, right? This is mostly slowly walking, right? Whereas a game like Monster Hunter, you're in big battles. This is about the gameplay. It's not.
It had super resolution aspect of the technology in DLSS 2. So it had a form of frame gen, but it's not the same used in 3 and 4 for DLSS. I just looked it up. So it still does the same thing, or same type of thing, but DLSS 3 does it better and more uniquely, and it's not backwards compatible, and same with 4. So yeah, just looked it up.
Not about being a visual showcase, and yet somehow it manages to be incredibly demanding on the GPU.
Right.
It's a bit rough. Anyway, I'm not quite sure exactly how to end this video, other than you guys could tell me about how you feel about the current state of game optimization in the comment section. Because again,
game optimization is dog shit, and AAA companies need to shape the fuck up, and this is why people don't buy these games. This is why people didn't buy other games that had optimization issues. This is why people review bombed the fuck out of, to be fair, it was broken as shit. Starfield at launch. This is why Dragon's Dogma 2 had like, what is it, like a mostly negative rating at certain parts right after launch. You know, it moved up to mixed, it moved up to medium or whatever. But it still had its, times where it was considered negative. Same thing could happen with Monster Hunter if it's bad enough. If the optimization is bad enough, Monster Hunter is not immune to this. I hate the term review bomb because it deserves. Yeah, no, I've talked about that as well. Review bombing, I think, is a misnomer used by game companies on huffing their own copium. Exactly, they're trying to gaslight people into thinking that negative reviews don't count, and it's earned negative reviews. But I mean, yeah, I agree with you for sure. It deserves a ton. Yeah, exactly. I think all the deserves the reviews for optimization, and if the game's not playable, things like that, things like happened in Dragon's Dogma 2, things that happened in other games that I've talked about before, those are deserved reviews. Deserved negative reviews. Completely agree, Jacka. But review bombing is the term the vernacular that is used by everyone when everything is negative on a review. So that's the problem.
I think it's commonly known. Does it match, like, is what you're seeing matching the performance level that you're getting? Because a lot of times,
nope, it's optimized like dog shit.
Nowadays, I don't think dog shit. And there's something going wrong in the initial, I think, design phase of the game or the optimization.
Copium. They just don't care. Like, he's almost there. This guy's doing really good. He is just giving these companies too much credit. The game companies don't care. That's what it is. And some of them have learned, which is why some of them are focusing on optimization. Warhorse Studios learned. They're like, we don't want a broken product at launch, which was, the first game. First game was pretty darn broken at launch. Everyone knows it. It had mixed reviews at launch and everything like that. They worked hard on it through patches and fixed it. And Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 launched perfectly. Why is that? They learned. They learned, and they wanted to make sure they put in the time and that there was no excuse to give it a negative review due to optimization or anything like that. They just made it good because they wanted to make it really fucking good. That's all it needs to happen. These game companies just have to learn how to make these games good again. That's it. That's really it. That's all it is. Definitely, that is all it is.
Phase of the game or both, where something needs to be different because this isn't looking good. And if we look at and
he's just too nice. He's too nice to say it, but I will always just say it how it is. These game companies just don't give a fuck about you or me. They just want to make that dosh. And now it's happening that if they don't do it right, people just don't buy their fucking game. People just didn't buy Star Wars Outlaws, which had massive issues. They just didn't buy, Skull and Bones. They just didn't buy all of these games with massive optimization issues. They just didn't do it.
performance advantages
exactly,
we're getting
Ponce.
from newer generations
exactly,
of hardware.
Mage.
They're looking to be getting less jumps in the future. So it used to be the case that, oh, this game came out, it performs badly, just wait a year and graphics cards are going to be like twice as powerful.
Yeah, graphics cards no longer do that. Dude, the fucking Intel 5 cards are like frying the wires because there's too much power. Like it has nothing to do with the cards anymore. It has all to do with actually giving a shit to optimize the game. That's it. That's all it is.
We're not getting those huge jumps anymore either. So it's at the same time as all of this is happening, it's getting harder to just brute force through it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Not that it's really great to have to do that anyway.
I don't know. I can't get out of this.
Anyway, that's where we're at. Let me know how you feel about all of this in the
poor guy's face is being covered
comment section, and I still hope all of you have an excellent day.
This was a great video. Absolutely. Give it a like, give it a sub. I will absolutely link this in the comments below. I will absolutely put this in the what's it called, in the description. So keep an eye out for it. 100%. Great guy. I've never looked at this guy's stuff before. Daniel Owen. I'll copy and paste his link in chat again. This was the video that we just watched. Really, really well made. Completely agreed. Beyond unfathomably based. All he needed to do is call them out for being dog shit, which he didn't do, but that's okay. I love this comment, though. Gaming in 1992, 640 by 480. Gaming in 2015, 1920 by 1080, which is how we all game resolution-wise. 2025, 960 by 540. We've regressed so much in 2025, guys. Oh my god. Yeah, GPUs are $3,500. We're cooked. Yeah, we're only cooked when game companies try to get away with this. That's the thing. That's the thing. Absolutely, absolutely. Thumbnail on this is pretty good. What is the thumbnail? I didn't check the thumbnail, but yeah, I will definitely let you know. And what do you guys think? Do you guys agree? Do you guys agree that Monster Hunter has these issues? Are you going to buy it anyways? I know I'm going to buy it anyways. Like, I'm just saying, I'm playing Monster Hunter Wilds. But at least, do you hate that Capcom does this? I'm not saying don't buy the game. I'm at least saying, tell Capcom how you feel. Leave comments. Share this video. Share the original video. You know, at least raise the awareness so Capcom at least will hopefully come out with an optimization patch before 6 months passes, like they waited for Dragon's Dog Shit 2. I mean, come on. Like, that's way too long. At least hold them to a higher standard so we don't have to suffer through this every time a new game is released and is released in a dog shit level. That's it. Like, I really, really hope that it's better. I really, really, really hope that it's better. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you disagree with me, please let me know what you think as well. I think it's pretty clear, but I would definitely love to hear what you guys think. Good optimization, good. Bad optimization, bad. Rushing out games that leads to bad optimization. And so it's bad. It's that simple. Let me know what you guys think. Can't wait to see you guys in the next video. If you did like this, if you did enjoy this discussion, I will always keep it real. Give this video a like, a sub, a comment, share it with your friends. See you guys in the next one.